Alright, into customs, and today we're going to take a look at a perk that I don't think I've used in that many videos so far. And if I have, it was probably just because there was nothing better available. And that is Cocoa Bean. Now Rev has put out a bunch of fun videos with Cocoa Bean. I'll link some of them in the description. But I had an idea that I don't think I'd seen anyone else do. And so I headed into customs to try and record it, and unsurprisingly it was incredibly difficult because Cocoa Bean has a pretty high random component. I'll explain what it does in a bit more detail when we get there later on. But initially in the early game here, I'm looking for a bunch of specific units. We get one of them here on the level up, which is Flying Fish. And then we get another on the second level up, which is Toucan. Now, Toucan is one of the best tier 3s, if not the best, in Puppy Pack. I guess it's not Puppy Pack exclusive, you get it for free if you're just playing customs free to play. But it's had a few buffs recently, and one of them is that it will pass egg back if it doesn't have any perk at all, which is very, very good, and I don't think it was particularly necessary. But it does give you a bit more ailment insurance in case the toucan itself gets an ailment and therefore loses its perk. And maybe you can guess now then what we're going to do based on Toucan's ability, which is to give Cocoa Bean to the toucan, and then it will give Cocoa Bean to the unit behind. Because it works on before attack now, it will always pass it back rather than transforming before fainting, which would have been the case with the original Toucan ability. At least I think that's the way it worked. I don't think I ever tried it before Toucan was changed. So we get another level up and we find another one of the units that we need, which is the whale. So my goal here is to play a summoning pet in front of the whale that's going to produce a small unit, and then Toucan will ultimately give that unit the Cocoa Bean, and hopefully the very small summoned pet will then copy a larger pet from the opponent's side and help us win. Now it sounds simple on paper, but in practice, this is one of those combos that I think kind of works pretty well initially, but then falls off pretty hard as you get closer and closer to the end. So the Sphinx has done its job, we can sell it and then bring another whale in. And luckily we get the level up on the Flying Fish before the toy expires. I think I ran quite a few games of this without bothering to level up whale, thinking that I didn't really need to. But actually it is beneficial to do that. So here it looks like we're going to lose, but in the end we scrape a tie. Not too many people playing Armadillo, even in customs. We don't want a higher level Flying Fish. The reason for that will become clear once we find another unit that we're looking for. We also don't want level 2 Toucan, because if we have that, then the whale would end up getting the Cocoa Bean, and you would lose the unit that was inside it. Relatively weak looking team here on turn 8, and Flying Fish is just a strong unit in the early and mid game anyway, so generally speaking we would be expecting to win with Whale Flying Fish unless we were making a real mess of our team. So I'm going to sell the dolphin with rice for extra gold. Resist the urge to level up the toucan. We do find the Cocoa Bean. We get an eagle. So, yeah, okay, we take the Cocoa Bean now and we freeze the Kakapo, which is the other unit that I need for this squad. So you'll see the combo in action here. We do get a level 2 Harpy Eagle, but then the Cocoa Bean converts it into the Hippo, which possibly, I don't know if we would have lost there if that hadn't happened, but the entire point of this was to have a pet that is leveled up by both Flying Fish and Kakapo in the same fight. So I think we'll see it happen here. Or maybe not. No, we won't, because the Great One ruins it. I still think we're going to be okay. yeah, we ended up missing out on the level up on the eagle at the end there, but it's fine. So I think at some point during the recording of this, I started adding, I put lemon and white ochre into the pack to make sure that I could protect the eagle and give it a better chance of actually getting the spawn. Now here we face Metabrusque, so I think we are going to get to see the combo work here. We actually copy the whale, which has a warthog inside it. And there we go. So the flying fish had leveled up the mammoth had leveled up the unit that summoned from the eagle to level 2.66. And then the kakapo levels it up when it transforms from the cocoa bean. So there's no real need to put to either go for level 3 kakapo or level 3 flying fish, as we actually face Porta, aka Trout Girl, and we copy the gorilla. Unfortunately, there we ended up losing out on the boxfish, which would have been nice, but it's a victory anyway. And yeah, I definitely had white ochre and lemon to try and just protect every single unit, because we didn't have a whole lot of scaling going on here. The Toucan getting sniped is also going to completely break the team. So I just buy a bit of health there. Here's someone else playing Armadillo. Incredibly rare for that to happen. 2-in-1 run. But very satisfying copies where we get larger pets from the opposing side. And yeah, we'll just take any health food we can. And white ochre on the flying fish. Now here you can see I actually have 5 hearts, and I got into this position multiple times. We'll see some of the clips in a second. But we get matched with Metabrusque again, and we're going to copy the warthog inside the whale for a second time. And I think here the boxfish is also going to copy a warthog. So Metabrusque donated 2 level 3 warthogs to us there. The textbook definition of a paid actor. All right, let's take a look at some of the other runs that got very, very close. Here we've got slug instead of eagle. Eventually I changed to eagle just because, having the eagle come out to the whale makes such a big difference, having those extra tier 6 abilities. I did think it would be funny to have the smaller slug turning into something else. It's like taking the weakest possible summon and then giving it, or one of the weakest possible summons and then giving it a strong ability. I think actually here we're going to copy the whale again, yeah, so we get a mammoth inside the whale. It is interesting the way Cocoa Bean works, where you do get the properties of the opposing pet as well. You're not just copying the pet type, you're also getting the contents if it's a whale or a beluga. And then here we copy a tuna, so it's been hurt 10 times, and our tuna has also been hurt 10 times, even though we just copied it. And I think we're going to be okay with the slug summon, or maybe it's going to be a draw. No, we do just win. And then this one, here's someone playing a triple cashew, which is kind of funny, panther as well. We get a walrus, but then it gets converted into a Dimetrodon. Of course, the idea is as well is that because we're copying an opposing pet, the buff from the kakapo is always going to mean that we have better stats than them, unless they're already 50-50. But here's another one where we copy the blue jay, and so we get plus 45-45 when it faints, which feels pretty unfair on the opposing team, but you have to admit it is pretty funny as well. But then, this happened a few times where I got to 9 and the opposing team had level 2 or level 3 dolphin, and I hadn't bought the white ochre or the lemon to keep the eagle alive. And then I think this is the last run I've got. I did have quite a lot of games of this, but many of them just failed miserably in the early game because we didn't find the pets that we needed. But here's Metabrusque again, and we're going to get a Kappa from the whale, and then I think the lemon here saves us for the 1 HP win. This one is kind of unfortunate. It does show one of the issues with Toucan Cocoa Bean. We end up copying the turtle, and so we lose the Cocoa Bean on the unit behind. But I think the fact that the flying fish is producing a level 3 tier 6 for us there helps scrape a draw. This one, fairly typical looking opposing team. The level 3 skunk doesn't do much because it just hits the flying fish. And then we get a nice copy of the snow leopard. Anytime you see a team like this, you're just quietly repeating, copy the mantis, and we get the mantis copy. I can't remember if I end up winning here or not though. Oh yeah, it's small one again. Such a powerful summon from Eagle when you have protective equipment like lemon and white ochre. But this one we're not so lucky. They have 2 massive units on their side and we don't copy either of them. So the level 3 50/50 blowfish at the back is going to be too much for the flying fish and the kakapo. So that takes us down to 1 heart on this run. And then we face the same person again in the immediate aftermath of that battle. We get double copy on the wyvern. They had a pretty strong looking team there, and yet the strength of the eagle and the level up synergy gets us the victory. So that is 9 wins again. And then on turn 17 we get matched with Triple D here. And it's not a huge scaling team, although they do have Markor. And I felt like I had a pretty strong chance here, but unfortunately there, the Mana Snipe kills the Octo before the Cocoa Bean gets to go off. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to eke out a win against this team anyway. But yeah, sooner or later your Cocoa Bean luck is going to run out.